I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Okay, welcome back to another episode of Gamatron. Today, well, I literally have about a couple hours, and then I'm going to Iceland. Yeah, it's a beautiful, sunny, warm day outside. There's Jay, the neighbor's house. I'm going to go to a land of rain and wind and cloud and cold. But it's going to be awesome. So, Jamie and I are leaving in pretty much a couple hours. Got to hit the road to go to Toronto to fly out. 5.5 hour flight. And then we arrive at like 4:30 a.m. our time, which is 8:30 a.m. their time. And then we're going to do a full day and night, which is my birthday tomorrow, September 11th. So, pretty cool way to spend a birthday on a boat cruise on the, I think, North Atlantic Ocean. And, it's a boat cruise that's supposed to hope to see the Northern Lights. But judging by the weather, it's not likely going to happen, but it'll still be pretty cool. Anyway. So I've got a couple hours before that happens. I'm all packed up, ready to go. So in the last episode, I found that this wire was broken off of wherever it actually originally went. And that was causing me some grief. So I have secured it there for now. That's just temporary. I want to put like an eyelet on this wire and secure it to the screw properly. And then I'll have proper grounding going to my transformer and power supply. And then measuring voltages, like in the last video, will actually work as they should. And I think it's kind of important to have this whole thing getting proper ground. Anyway, so once I do that, then I think it might be okay to start installing boards. I got me a good solenoid driver board somewhere. Brand new Weebly MPU. I'm sure I've got plenty of decent lamp driver boards. And then I just got to find a Stern soundboard. And then some soundboard ribbon cables to go from the soundboard to the MPU. I'm pretty sure that the Weebly MPU, yeah, here's lamp driver right here. What does it say? From Supersonic and is okay. Boom, one board down. Here is my Weebly board, brand new. There's the sound cable section right there. I gotta zoom in a little better with my camera and my eyeballs. MPU 200. So let's say, well, I'll check the manual to find out which of these dip switches need to be on and off to program it for Flight 2000. What is that? What is these dip switches? There's the game selection there. So what are these dip switches? I forget. To make it so it's either Bally MPU 100 or Stern MPU 200. So we're going Stern, so we need all of the dip switches on/in. And then, check this out. This is stuff I haven't even, like, when I was dealing with my last project, which was Viper. This is all just stuff that I was dealing with, including, well, Sonic, I guess, Supersonic. I didn't even like have to go digging for these boards. They're just all here. This is the old Viper board. And, wait, no, that's not the one I wanted to use. I've got one upstairs somewhere. What is this one? That is just another one I think I was testing in Viper. That's not the one. So I've got a solenoid driver upstairs that I refurbed and I know is tested and working. So I'm going to grab that and We'll start with the solenoid driver board, check its voltages. Actually, I'll start with this wire. I'll do the thing to that, then check these voltages, make sure they're good, and then pop in a solenoid driver board. But this is going to be a bit of a hiccup here. I have to figure out what that's all about. So, while editing the last video, I did learn and find out that these are almost certainly for the old knocker assembly, which was somewhere up here, I think. I don't see the holes for them. So maybe this metal was not installed in the exact same spot as it was before, but knocker goes here. And then I discovered also that these wires were for the original chime box. And you can see these are the brackets. There's 2 chime boxes, one which had 3 chimes, one which had 1 chime, and they were mounted right there for the old bobby ore. And that's why this hole was cut in the bottom of the cabinet all wonky. It was not your most precise oval cut in the world, but they did that to match the speaker that they added. So, you know, starting to piece this whole thing together. I think I have a chime box here. Let's look for fun. Yeah, that's not the same style chime box though. There's a different bracket. So, can't demonstrate that, but it's good to know that I don't really need to address that. And then this is a Bally knocker assembly from an old Evel Knievel, which is probably the exact same knocker assembly that was in bobby ore. See some holes that look like they'll line up perfectly to the knocker plate. Boom. Good find there. So we'll have knockage. All right, I'm gonna go find that board upstairs and be right back. The other thing I have to do is check all my standoffs, make sure that they're standoffish. That one feels broken, but if not, I'm pretty sure I have some in stock. I think I ordered some not that long ago through Corey Cook. All right, I'll be back. Okay, let's start with selecting the perfect eyelet. Well, I picked a very small yellow one, and then I plucked off the plastic part of it. I'm left with that and a black spot on my thumb and finger, wherever that came from. Oh, this coil sleeve, you just brush against those and you get filthy. So then I squeezed the little nubs together, and now I'm going to just go like this, and I'm going to two-fold this guy. I'm going to squeeze the crap out of this more on the insulation, and then I'm going to solder the wire portion to the eyelet, so I have double duty. Okay, this thing is on there good. It's squoze, it's soldered, and that is not going anywhere forever. Now, let's see if I can reattach this single-handedly. Got to feed through 3 things here. Can I pull it off? How many shenanigans does it take to install a screw? Alright, look at that. Where did this wire go originally, I wonder? Doesn't really matter, but I'm kind of curious. At first I said, oh, Corey, I'm just assuming it goes into one of these, it popped out of one of these guys. He says, do not stick it back in there. If so, you'll start blowing fuses and or possibly house breakers. So I took his advice and I did not try to put it in one of those things. But that should do the trick. So now for fun, we're going to go back to measuring the voltages the way I did the first time and see what happens, and see if for some reason our test point 1 voltage is back up to snuff now. I doubt it, but I'm going to check it anyways. I can't remember if I mentioned that, the manual, one of the steps, it said to change some settings and some jumper wires and some wiring on the transformer itself to add like some extra oomph to the solenoids. I don't know if I mentioned, but it is definitely has been done. I think there was a jumper from lug 5 to 7 that was cut. You can kind of see a little bit of the old jumper there. And then the wire was moved from 5 to 9, and then a jumper was added from 9 to 11. So that is what the manual is telling us to do when converting Gamatron for extra flipper action and solenoid action in general. So it has in fact been done on this transformer. I am wondering if I should undo it, put it back to normal. Like, does it really need to be high tapped? Like, this sounds like, high tapping a machine, but I only knew about doing that for the most part, I think, on EM machines, electromechanical style. But I don't know, maybe have I done it on System 1 games, Gottlieb? Very possible. On the older games, it literally has a lug and a wire that says something like low tap, high tap. So you move the wire just from one lug to the other, boom, you're done. I've done that 3 or 4 times. I just assumed it was EM style though, but maybe solid state. But definitely not ever done this style high tapping before. Okay, so we're going to test using this ground that was failing me last video. Test point 1, we think should be about 3.5 to 4 volts. Yeah, it's still the same. That's low. That's the one issue that I'm gonna deal with at some point. Test point 2 should be high voltage. Oh, on a side note, that's good voltage, by the way. And it's working, by the way. Side note, I just made a deal with my buddy Mitch Ayers, and he is going to sell me brand new set of 7-digit LED displays assembled for a reasonable price. So I'm going all out, boys and girls. 7-digit displays. They are orange, so I'm going to keep the red gels, but we're getting rid of all the dummy zeros. Actually, I don't even think there are any left on my back glass. Where did I even put mine? Oh yeah, it's in the other room. So, new LED displays. $300 Canadian, shipped, delivered, all in. So I thought that was reasonable. They are front mount displays, which means they don't there's not 2 parts to it. There's not the display part and the PCB part. It's just all one display, and it just mounts to the front, so I can adjust for height. I imagine I'll be getting rid of these brackets altogether then. I can get rid of these stupid dummy light sockets. I'm excited about it. So that's coming soon, which means I don't really need my high voltage test point 280 volts anymore, because I won't be using plasma displays. Test point 3, what do we got? I just gotta hold it better. There we go, 14 volts, beautiful. Test point 5, solenoid voltage 40. We are in business, boys and girls. Test point 4 AC voltage needs to be around 7. Boom. Okay, other than test point 1 voltage, we're good to go. Like I said in the last video, that voltage is for controlled lamps. So all my inserts just might be a little more dim. That's going to be the symptom. But I can at least start trying to get more life out of the machine and deal with that at some other point in time. Okay, check this out. Here's the solenoid driver. I got some notes to myself. I did the following in July of 2025. reflowed the headers, did the ground mods, a new C23 cap, that's the gold one there. Fuse mod, so you can use full size fuse instead of that little small one. And a new fuse. I tied test point 3 to test point 1. It was in future spa and should be 100%. So there's the ground mod there. Another ground mod there. That's the test point 1 to test point 3 mod. There's the other ground mod. So, gonna install that and test these voltages out. Okay, so one of the arms is broken off of that standoff. So we're gonna do standoff surgery. We're gonna break off the standoff. Oftentimes they're just so brittle they just snap off, but this one's being a little more stubborn. Might need to, there we go. Okay. So here's a before and after. Here's the old guy. Here's the new guy. Makes you want to change them all almost, right? But here is the part number if you want to get you some standoffs, because most of the time several of them are broken. So there we go. That guy's good. This guy's good. This guy's a little bit floppy. It seems okay. So I will see if the board will be happy with that. Okay, the standoffs are happy and the board is happy to a certain degree. But remember, this is a whole brand new back. So when I went to screw in the board, the holes just didn't line up very well on these little brackets. So what I did was remove the 2 screws from this bracket. So it is now just like free floating. And then I screwed on the board in both corners. And now I'm going to put in screws into different holes. So you can see where that hole is just a little bit off and that's just a little bit off. So I'll probably just use these other 2 holes and you know, make sure it's comfortable, because if I was trying to use the old holes, it just put too much strain on everything. So there is my solve for that. Okay, I drilled a new hole, put in the screw into that different location, and so you can see the difference in hole alignment for the new hole versus the old hole. And pop that guy in there. Switch hands, because I'm a righty. Now we gotta go righty-tighty. There we go. Board mount successful. I just couldn't use those old holes because it was kind of practically bowing the whole board. So I'm happy with this. So let's find out what's going on with this, because that could be a problem. But I think this could be power to the board. So we could probably plug that in and test out these voltages. Okay, next roadblock is indeed what is going on here. I thought maybe perhaps this was just part of the conversion suggestions or requirements, but I've done some research and there is some modification to like the solenoid driver wiring that is on the instructions, but it's definitely not cut off the entire connector for J3. This is the power coming from the transformer, and you know, we need that connector. So herein lies the fun. So this is where I'm at. Here are the schematics for Flight 2000 on Internet Pinball Database. This shows just what each of the wires are for and where they go on the J3 connector. And I mean, there is a schematic as well, but it's not really very clear. Is this it? Solenoid driver. That's for Quicksilver, so I mean, it's very close. And then there's some more information here as to J3, like, let's see, some crossover information here. Transformer, you know. We got some display stuff. And it does have some wire colors here. So I'm going to have to revert to that, or refer to that. Basically, I got to add a connector and, you know, add the wires where they're supposed to go, but that's the trick. So I compared every single one of these to this schematic, which is Bally, but Stern and Bally are basically the same thing. So I cross-referenced everything here to everything here, and it's identical except for this pin 3 says A2J3- blank, and here it says A2J3-18, so I'm assuming that's just missing. And here it says knocker, but on Flight 2000 it doesn't say knocker, which is kind of weird. But the other thing is that there's no lettering here. Over here, all these numbers represent, well, not lettering, numbering. All these numbers represent the wire colors. So you can start with like pin 1. Wait, no. Where's pin 1? Not used. Key. So pin 3 is 5 0. We go over here. We see that 5 is white, 0 is nothing. Remember, this is the Bally schematic, so there may be some color changes, but I'm expecting to see a white wire there. But let's look at one more just to see. So pin, let's go to pin 5. So that is 30, which means that should be yellow. So at pin 3 it should be white, pin 5 should be yellow. Let's go see if we've got a white and yellow wire in this bundle. This looks like we got a white. No, that's white brown. That is white blue. See a yellow. Can you see this? How's my camera work? Yellow. Is that straight yellow? That looks like straight yellow. And then there's a yellow red down there. A white orange, white green, white brown. So that's what I got to do. I got to just play the deciphering game for an hour to figure out what goes where. Add a connector on. Now, here's another problem. I don't have a whole lot of slack. If I pull this out of here, plug this in here, and then if I remove that screw right here, will that give me enough play? I'm hoping so, because I really don't want to have to add wires to all of these if I don't have to. So I guess I will find out. Okay, I got rid of that wire clip and the screw, clipped a couple of zip ties, and you know what? I think it's going to be tight, but I think I'm going to be able to pull it off. Definitely enough room from the top. It's just these bottom wires. If like any of those need to go right to the top of the connector, that may be a problem. Like I might have to kind of come out in front, which is not really ideal. Don't love that. So if I had to add some wires just to these guys, it wouldn't be so bad. It's half the work. There's 3, 6, 9 wires there. So I wasn't really wanting to get into something that's going to take me an hour when I don't have that much time. So maybe I will install the Weebly board, kind of get a little ahead of myself, or maybe I should just bite the bullet and start working on this. I don't know if I'll have time to finish, but let's go do some research. I really got to share how much fun I'm having. At first I went to Quicksilver and took a photo of the connector and then realized, well, that is a Stern wiring, and this is an old Bobby Orr, so that's Bally wiring, so I should probably just stick to this. So here's what I've been doing. Where are we at? About, I think pin 22 maybe? So pin 22 of J3 is 82. So pin 22 is 82. 82 is black and blue. Black, blue. 82 is black and blue for 22. And then you, oh my God, almost dropped it. Black and blue, then you go hunting. Oh, look, there's black and blue right there. Boom. So that's the fun I've been having. Okay, believe it or not, that was successful. There are no rogue wires, no colors that I couldn't find. Everything matched up almost identically, except I'm missing brown green on pin 13. And then I'm missing brown green on pin 25. Wait, how can the same color be used? And then I realized that is the jumper wire in the connector. There's the jumper, that little ground mod you do to jumper test point 1 to test point 3 or whatever it is. That is these two wires, I believe. So there is that jumper in that connector, and that is where these guys go. So I'll just add that. And I even found that the knocker, which is black yellow, matches up right here. So we can wire that back in. And yeah, hard work is done. Now I'll just add on a connector. Well, depends on if I need to extend the wires or not, but time's a ticking, so we'll see how far I can get. Okay, I went hunting for a new connector that was 25 pins long. I don't have new ones. They don't really come that long. Well, maybe they do. But I went digging and look what I found. That should do the trick. I just got to remove all these wires and give it a cleaning. Fun with connectors. Oh, just a little bit of mud. Ain't a thing. We'll clean this up and get rid of this little key here. That's probably not in the right spot. All right, check it out. Good as new. Got rid of the key. Washed it up. Played it like a harmonica to blow out all the water. This is a 28 pin and I need a 25 pin, so I'm gonna just cut it a few notches, but I really gotta go and I kinda wanted to get this video out to you before I left, and I have very, very little time to do so. So I'm going to end this video, edit this like there's no tomorrow, very minor editing. I'm just gonna friggin' cut and paste and get the hell out of Dodge. So short and sweet episode, baby steps, but making progress.